No big. Oh, mute. No, mute. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Hello. We are live. Hi, Kathy.
Oh. How is everyone's Monday morning? There is this awesome thing happening outside. It's called sunshine.
I
And I'm
know. We've
so
got that
excited
too.
for it. Sunshine
Although
and
later
warm
today
weather.
we're supposed to get rain, so we'll see what happens.
No, I'm done. I'm done with the rain. When the ground becomes a sponge, time to turn the waterworks off.
Well, what happens is
It's
if it
outside.
stops raining, it's going to become 90 degrees. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, because I keep watching, everyone's posting these gorgeous pictures of this is what my garden looks like. I'm like, mine looks like crap on crack, is what my garden looks like right now. It's like half growing and still all this old stuff from last season. And
hi,
that was
Kraken.
raining.
Good to see you. Hi, Diane.
Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm just glad the sun's out and that it's like 60 degrees. Because after this, I'm going to go stand outside and just soak up the sun a little bit. Because I didn't realize how actually depressed I get when it rains.
Yeah.
A lot.
Especially like last week, cold and rainy. I can't deal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, the couch calls your name. Every piece of junk food you may have hidden away in your cabinet calls your name.
I read 2 novels last week.
Yeah. Well, that's better. That's better. I sat my butt on my couch, played a couple of video games, stared at the TV, eating vicariously through what I was watching, and just decided to eat junk food. No, you were better than I was.
Oh, no, I ate junk food too.
Oh. I've had to correct myself. I had to like buy Cheerios and vanilla almond milk as like a sweet treat late at night to satisfy that crunchy need to nibble on something because I'm horrible. I'll just keep getting up and going. And then I wonder why my stomach hurts the next morning. Well, it's because you ate a ton of junk food, a ton of crap at 9 o'clock at night. Hey, Jazia. So I'm really guilty of that.
Oh, it's funny. I gotta go to the B&B tomorrow.
Oh.
Because, my birthday's next week. Gotta go get those tags renewed. So that'll be fun. Ugh. At least my B&B is like across the street from one of the thrift stores. So I'll get to walk my little butt across the street and
it's a reward.
Get to do some thrifting.
It's a reward.
Although I don't know, their prices have gone up so much at that one. I don't know if I can get anything there, but I will check it out.
I'm amazed when you go to the different stores how, especially some of the consignment shops and antique stores that I go to, like you always have that one booth where you're like, all the prices are always great here, and then you go to the next booth over, and they might have very similar stuff, but you're like, whoa, what happened to the prices?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Jack? Yeah.
I do have to say that my Goodwill has come back down in price. They'd skyrocketed outrageously. And I think that in this area, it really hurt them. And they just weren't selling as much. So prices have come back down a bit to more normal, affordable prices. That was insane. I was getting better prices at the antique store right down the street from the Goodwill.
Yeah. Yep. I'm still getting better prices there.
Oh, Kathy. Hi,
Angela. That happens.
Yeah. Could not believe when I looked at because I put everything in my inventory book and I had not been sourcing from April 8th to May 5th. April 8th was the last day I'd sourced. And then on May 5th, when I stopped at that garage sale, I'm like, it was a month. I didn't go sourcing for a month.
I think I did that during the holidays there in like January and February. I think it was like 2 months I hadn't gone out because up here everything closes down. It's all, we're going to wait for the tourists. We're going to wait for the tourists. So they shut their I don't know how they afford it. They shut their buildings down for the winter. Yeah. And I have no idea how they afford it up here, but I'm getting psyched. I was supposed to go to the first flea market, rained out, didn't get to go to that. So now I got to wait to the end of this month, but that's okay. It's only a couple weeks.
This month I've got flea market, and then the second weekend in June is my daughter's community garage sales again, and we've gone 2 years previous and had good luck. So I'm hoping to have good luck again. But garage sales have officially started around here now. So
we're getting close. We're getting close. Usually a lot of places won't open up till like Memorial Day
yeah.
to do a lot of their flea markets and small flea markets and things like that and garage sales. So we'll see.
All right, we are going to get started. So I'll make myself big.
Guys, this is a fun one. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a fun topic this week.
So we are talking about what was that thing used for? Because there's so many pieces that we source where we're like, this seems like it had a specific purpose, but I don't know what it was. So some of these we've talked about before, we've mentioned, so you may know, but we're going to give you some examples. I'm going to talk about some things, and then Nikki's going to talk about some things. So the upper echelons of society had specialized serving and eating dishes for every item of food. So when you see the movies where the person's trying to fit into society, and so they're learning which fancy fork to use and why the plates are stacked on each other and which one's a water glass and which one's a wine glass, there were specialized things for all of the pieces you ate off of and all of the pieces that things were served in. So formal meals were highly ritualized from the 18th through the early 20th century. And formal dinners like this are still put on at the White House occasionally. Fun fact.
Ooh.
Now, though, we do a much more casual dining thing. Even the upper echelons of society, rich people, are not going to sit down to these formal dinners every night either. So we have picked up serving pieces here and there where they were handed down through family members, and we use them now for whatever. So we may be using the bean bowl as a serving bowl for our peas and not even know how bad we are doing it. That's a joke. So a lot of times the serving pieces were decorated with its purpose, and we're talking pre-1920s here.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have a platter that had a fish on it. That was a fish platter. A bowl with fruit was specifically to put fruit and to serve fruit. So then you get into like the 1960s, 1970s. Indiana Glass and Westmoreland Glass put the grapes on everything. So that changed over time, but pre-1920s, if you've got a piece, so it's going to be an antique piece, and it's got a lobster on it, that probably was the platter for serving a lobster. So some examples of specific dishes, and even breakfast would be more formal than anything that we do today. So you've got your egg cups, and that was for your soft-boiled or hard-boiled egg, depending on how you liked it. And that was a daily thing that was eaten during breakfast. Your bone dishes, which I'm sure by now everybody knows what those are, but they were the little curve-shaped ones set at the top of your plate, because meat was not, you butchered your own meat or you bought it from a butcher, and the bones were not removed. And you got to think, back then, every single thing was made from scratch, including your sauces. Everything from beginning to end was made from scratch. There was no carry out. Your cook or the woman of the family would make everything. So you had bone dishes at every meal because your meat always was going to have bone in it, no matter what you were eating. Asparagus plates, celery dishes, oyster plates, spooners, knife rests. The very first time I ever saw one of those, and it was years ago, I was like, why did they make baby rattles that were glass?
Or baby dumbbells. Were they supposed to work out their biceps?
I'm like, why would they do that? It was a knife rest because you would have your tablecloth on the table, and if you got butter on the tablecloth, you were going to stain it. So the knife rest kept your knife from touching the table, and you didn't get butter on your fancy tablecloths. Hi, Lynn. Lynn, I got my package today from you. I'm going to save it for next week. Butter dishes, which were round because butter was not in sticks back then. If you made butter at home, it was going to be a round ball of butter, or if you purchased it from somebody that had cows, it was going to be a round ball of butter. So butter dishes were round. Cake plates were always on a pedestal. because the cake was the crowning glory. So the cake would sit in the center of the table up on its pedestal cake plate. And everyone during dinner, you got to see that. Pie plates were flat to the table because back then it was meat pies you were eating. It would be part of your main meal. It was not the fancy dessert pies that we have now. Salt dips, which we've talked a lot about. I got a whole video about it. Sherbet dishes. And, you know, sherbet dishes, you can find them pretty often and pretty inexpensively in like uranium glass. And you're always like, why were there so many sherbet dishes? Nobody used the stinking things. But they were meant for your cold desserts, individual little desserts. But a lot of times you didn't use that one. So you can find those unbroken pretty easily. So relish dishes I found were really interesting because we've talked about relish dishes before because we've had some for sale, but they were not for relish. Because every time I see one listed, I'm like, why?
Having issues.
But it's from. Do I need to open it now? Or should I wait until my birthday, Lynn? They were not for relish as we think of it. They were used for sauces to accent the meat being served. So think like your homemade A1 sauce would go into your relish bowl. Oh, wait for my birthday? Okay. Compotes, and we did talk about compotes and comports a couple weeks ago, but they've got the pedestal base, and they actually were used to serve like mashed potatoes because they were easy to pass around. So you put the hot mashed potatoes in there, you can pick it up by the pedestal base, and you're not burning your hands, and it's easier to pass around that way. And then I've seen the wide, shallow bowls before. Had no idea what those were for. No ideas. And I've not seen them in glass, but I'm talking like china. They were used for serving the clear soups. So the consomme, the clear soups would be in a wide, shallow bowl that looks almost like a plate with just a little bit higher lip. And is it from you, Kathy? And you would just spoon it out with a large, shallow soup spoon. And then bigger bowls were made for the heartier soups. So I thought it was really interesting that those, I didn't know, that was something new I learned, that those wide, shallow ones were for your clear soups. And then you had your toothpick holders, which, but you know what it is? Since I have a small collection of toothpick holders, I only have amber, and then I have this amberina one that I actually use. I was interested to learn more about toothpick holders, so I did most of my research there. So the wood toothpicks started to be mass produced in the 1860s. Hi, Bree! And this led to a rise in popularity of toothpick holders. The glass ones were popular from 1895 to 1905. They were later introduced as a collectible item and reproduced in many patterns and colors. Oh, we lost Nikki.
Sorry about that.
So they came back in late 50s, 60s, 70s as a collectible item. But previous to that, they were meant to hold your toothpicks. And when they were advertised, they weren't just advertised as toothpick holders. They were advertised as toothpick holders, matchstick holders, egg cups, and in England, they were advertised as spill vases. A spill vase was made to hold wood slivers to bring fire from your fireplace to a candle or a lamp. Some of these are also mistaken for spooners, cigarette holders, or small bud vases. And you can tell if it was a matchstick holder by taking your toothpick holder and doing this. If you can easily get your toothpicks out of them, it's a toothpick holder. If you put them in and you can't easily reach them, It's not, it had another use. Now we know this is a personal creamer. It would have had a matching personal sugar, but that's one way to tell, was it actually a toothpick holder? If it's a toothpick holder, they're going to sit like this where you can easily grab one out. They started to go out of fashion because people thought picking their teeth at the table was rude and stopped doing it, which was funny. See, this would be an example of a small bud vase instead of a toothpick holder. And this one is one of the short ones. So this was a toothpick holder. The ones that are a little bit longer were actually candle holders, votive holders. And they were made, you know, in 70s, 80s. But if they're the shorter ones, there's a likelihood that they're older and they were actual toothpick holders. Floss did not become a common household item until the 1970s, when dentists started to recommend everybody floss. So that's why we had toothpicks, because floss was invented in the 1800s, but it was not commonly used as a household item until the 1970s. And that was it. That was all I had. Now we'll switch to Nikki.
Ooh. And now we use toothpick holders to put out when we have little appetizers. So you can use toothpicks. So we use toothpicks for something totally different now. That's what I think is, although some people still use them to. So if you've ever stabbed yourself with a toothpick, you've stopped doing that with toothpicks. I'm going to say that because it hurts.
Well, before the wood ones were mass produced, people would have their own personal one that they would carry with them, and it would be gold or silver. And so you had your own personal before the wood ones were mass produced.
How fancy. Okay. So I'm going to talk about specific little items that I found out. We'll start with the easy ones. We'll start with the real easy ones. So we'll start with a nappy. What is a nappy dish? I heard somebody told me that a nappy dish was meant to serve lemons. Wrong. Nappy dishes were actually made for whatever you wanted. They made them so they were multiple use items, but the most common use for a nappy dish was for sauce and berries. So what does a nappy dish look like? This is a nappy dish. Nappy dishes will look like, and this is the easiest way I could describe them, really weird looking drinking vessels. Because technically that's what the word nap means. It comes from the Old English, Old Middle English, NAP or KNAPF, nap, which meant a wide open drinking vessel or bowl. So once upon a time, you would have drank out of these, something shaped similar to this. Then they have, now nappies will have one handle, only one handle. Bonbon dishes, if it has two handles, it's not a nappy dish, it's a bonbon dish, or it's meant for something else. One handle on a nappy dish and it'll look like a cup, like this. So that's what a nappy dish is. Very, very fun. You would put lemons in them. Yes, you could do that. Olives, nuts. So they were made for whatever you wanted them to be made for. It was spooner, and I don't have a spooner, but Claudia has spooners to show you guys.
I'll make me.
Oops, side by side.
I'll just move me.
Yeah.
So
okay. Spooners.
We've all seen this one because I had it up for sale. Now I am actually using it. This is one version of a spooner. And so is this. I love this one with its free feet. So that's two versions of spooners.
Now, spooners provided a way for the household to display. Most of the stuff was to display how freaking wealthy you were. Look at how much better I am than my neighbor. So you would put spoons, your fancy, really gorgeous spoons and flatware in a spooner to show off your wealth. And it was also a sign of hospitality. They would set them on buffet tables and serving tables, but by the 1930s, they had kind of fallen out of favor. Now, I'll say two things about spooners. And actually a table setting, some of the things we're talking about. If you've never seen Downton Abbey, go back and watch the dinner scenes. Watch them come down in the morning and eat breakfast. Watch them come down in the evening and eat dinner. And you'll see some of these items that we're actually talking about. Spooners would be they'd be a breakfast buffet table. So you'd come down, you'd grab your plate, you'd grab your spoon, your fork, your knife, whatever, and you'd go sit down at the table and eat like that. Nowadays, we use spooners more often than we thought. We use them to put our cooking utensils in next to the stove. We use them when we have big gatherings and we don't want to lay out a table and it's kind of like grab and go and buffet style, we find a fancy, cute little glass and we put the silverware, even if it's plastic, in a little fancy dish. That's fine. That's not by
or
plastic.
like me, you put your makeup brushes in them.
Or you put your makeup brush. I'm going to tell you, they work for so many different things. They make beautiful planters, but most of your spooners are going to be antique because they had fallen out of favor by the 30s. So those are the two really, really easy ones. So next, and then there's the third easy one. What's a console bowl? What the devil's a console bowl? So a console bowl is a wide, shallow bowl, and I don't have one. I'm searching for one particular, that are meant to display on a side table, on a dining table, on a buffet table, in a hallway, and any big, huge table service. They were usually the centerpiece if they sat on the dining table, and they had matching candlesticks. Oftentimes that you would put flowers in them, and if you did, usually they had a flower frog. Some of the best and prettiest console bowls have flower frogs, and some of them are super ornate. You could put fruit in them. Fruit was acceptable too. And they were often flanked, like I said, by the candlesticks on either side that were matchy. So those are the easy ones. Oyster plates. Why the devil did they make oyster plates? Well, oysters were plentiful and cheap in the 19th century in London. This is more of a British thing, although they did have oyster plates here. And they were a staple of the lower class. They were quick, easy, cheap. The streets of Blackpool and Liverpool were lined with oyster things. They were a real easy, cheap man's dish. By the end or by the middle of the century, of the 19th century, over 700 million oysters were consumed in London alone. That is ludicrous. So I've never eaten an oyster in my life, and I never will say that. Due to the overfishing, oyster prices or oysters almost went extinct. So oyster prices went through the roof. So then they went from being a poor man's fare to, hey, look how rich I am. I can afford oysters. Now, when you're that wealthy, oysters on a half shell were served all the time. Here's my oyster on a half shell on a pretty, pretty, pretty plate. But you keep putting them on a plate, the shells are going to scratch your gorgeous, gorgeous plates. So they invented oyster plates. And there were some absolutely gorgeous glass oyster plates. They weren't as common in, exactly. They weren't as common in glass as they are in porcelain and majolica and some of the other things, but there are glass ones out there. And you'll know immediately that it's an oyster plate because it has weird indentation. They call them oyster wells. And they'll come in either 5 or 6. And just think of it as the deviled egg plate of the Victorian era, the oyster plate. Now, the coolest thing is celery. We look today at celery as, oh, I'm eating celery. I'm sorry, guys. My phone is being super weird. We're eating celery. We're on a diet, or it's a snack you give to your kids if they're having some peanut butter. It goes in lunches. No. In Victorian times, celery was the thing. It was, sorry about the loud noises. Okay, so no dinner time in Victorian era was complete without a side of celery. Didn't matter what you were eating, there was celery on the table. For the most of the 19th century, celery was perceived as a high status food. So your upper levels. So the reason why a lot of this happened during Victorian times, this was the first time you actually had a lower class and a middle class and an upper middle class, and then you had your, really high elite. You actually finally had people with time to kind of waste, to put on these elaborate dinner parties and to show off how wealthy they had become. So the 1830s to 1890s, the celery was served what's called in the rough, which means the leaves weren't taken off. And they were served in a celery vase. I had never heard of a celery vase until I looked up. I thought I was just going to find celery plates. They were served in a celery vase. Now, a celery vase is 6 to 9 inches tall with straight sides, and it's going to be sitting on a pedestal. Now, this is not a celery vase, but it's going to be similar to this. You're going to have this really tall, straight, and a bigger pedestal. It'll be a much bigger pedestal than this, taller pedestal. And that was to show off your celery. And it would have water in it. And sometimes it would just, yes, exactly. I love that. Sometimes it would sit out all day long in a little bit of water for people to snack on as well. But in the evening, it was kind of a centerpiece sitting there to show off, oh, if you had more than one, holy moly, how wealthy are you to have more than that? So I am now on the hunt for celery vases. If you're ever interested in what they look like, just type in celery vases and images and you'll know exactly what they are. I wouldn't be surprised if many of us have been selling vases out there, didn't realize they were actually celery vases, just thought they were boring little flower vases. So now after in the 1890s, we start to switch to celery dishes. We've all seen these, probably just didn't recognize that you saw them. If you see these long oval dishes, those are celery dishes. They were in the final decades of the 19th century. They became very popular then. Then we started cutting the stuff off and making them look all pretty. A lot of them had handles, not all of them, but they did have handles. Between 1890 and 1920, celery dishes were also manufactured in the American brilliant cut glass, and they had finally made their way over to the continent, over to here. Usually your celery vases also would match your water goblets and your wine glasses, and they were clear glass because you wanted to see through the celery. So yeah, next time you go to, I'm going to serve celery next time in one of these. I'm going to put my celery in it because I do it with my breadsticks. Why don't I do it with my celery? I'm going to put it in a fancy little glass. So that is everything that I had on today's weird topic.
All right, I wanted to show you guys one more thing. So this is my elegant glassware of the Depression era. And just to show you an example, so this is the apple blossom line that Cambridge Glass Company did in the 1930s. All of these are listing all of the things that would go with your serving set. 2 whole pages. So this would give you all of your plates, your bowls, your goblets, and then all of your serving pieces. So this is what we're talking about. When every single thing that went onto your table went into a very specific kind of serving dish that was made for that thing and that thing only. Craziness. Crazy. So I just had to show you guys that. So many things. Okay, and I will let Nikki go first.
Okay. So what do I have coming up first? Oh, yeah. Okay. So I found out in my hunts this really gorgeous, gorgeous piece of cobalt glass. Now it has the fruits and veggies. So like we learned, this should hold fruits and veggies. It's really small. It's not big enough to hold fruits and veggies. Maybe some dried apricots. That might work. So it has a nice little swirly swirl there on the bottom of the base. And this is French. It just says made in France on the bottom. That's all this says here. It's a smaller guy because I can hold it with my hand. And I'm kind of addicted to cobalt. I think I'm reliving my time in the 90s lately.
Yeah.
This is not, yeah, right? This does not say that. I can never pronounce that company. Arcroc.
Arcroc?
That's it. Yeah. It doesn't say that it is. It just says France. It does have a number 17 on the bottom, and that's it. Usually they would say,
yeah, Arcroc usually says it
on the bottom. So this does not say that, it just says France. So it's a cute little guy. And if you're interested in my blue cobalt, it's going to be $12, number 78. $12, number 78 on that guy. I have a lot of serving things today. I kind of came prepared for that.
Yeah, me too.
I kind of just was in that mood. So up next, I have a piece of milk glass here. This is gorgeous. Now, this is not marked Westmoreland, and I do not think that it is Victorian either. It's a little too, hey, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
And hey, Rebecca. It's a little too thin to be Westmoreland, and it's not marked, and it's a little too thin. Doesn't quite feel Victorian either. So I'm going to say this is probably maybe turn of the century there, like between 1900 and 1920s. The ring of fire on this reticulated piece is gorgeous. And I love these little plates. It's not a big one. It's a small one. These are really awesome if you have a milk glass planter and then you put it on top of here as a base. They look gorgeous for that. It is in really good shape. The gold is a little worn, but that's okay. But these little holes are where the ring of fire just really shine on all these little edges. So little guy, as big as my face. And if you're interested in this guy right here, it's going to be just $9. $9, number 91. celery stick holders or celery bases. Yeah.
Hi,
And
Rebecca. And if I missed saying hi to you when you came in, hello and welcome.
there you go, Cass.
Okay, my first item, if you saw my haul video, you saw this. It is the Avon butter dish, but this was meant to hold your guest soaps in the guest room, the guest bathroom. I love that. It originally came with 2 butter pat shaped soaps. Love that. Now, I could not confirm that this was made by Fostoria glass. Usually I can find a picture online of the original box, and someone will have taken pictures of all the way around, and it will say somewhere on there Imperial. The boxes I found, they did not take good pictures of. So I can't confirm that it's Imperial glass, but we know they did a lot of Avon glass. It's beautiful. No chips, no cracks. It is on the smaller side. Nikki has this lid.
I do.
You make cheese balls, right?
I use cheese balls and put cheese balls in them.
So it will hold a small cheese ball.
Yep.
And it's this size. So a lot of the butter dishes are bigger. This is a smaller one. $10. $10, number 9. Second item, Fenton purple vase from the 90s. And I think it was Becky who told me that when they're open like this with the ruffles open, they're not rose bowls. Rose bowls will always have the ruffles pushed inwards, and that these are just considered small vases when the ruffles are outwards. So a lot of people have this one misidentified as a rose bowl, but she is the Fenton expert, and she corrected me one time, and I believe her. So it's this size. I will tell you how tall this one is. This purple is gorgeous. At the ruffle, it's like 3.5 inches at the top of the ruffle. No chips, no cracks on this one. Fenton purple from the 90s is so pretty.
It is.
This one is $18, number 16. $18, number 16. And it's crazy because I couldn't find a sold comp on it. But if you look, it's listed. They've got one listed at like $100 and some on eBay with it marked rare. And I'm like, yeah, let's come back down to reality. Those are my 2.
Oh, you got Rebecca for number 16.
Rebecca. I'm glad you got it, Rebecca.
Did you find the pictures? Because if not, I will find the website that I was looking on that just had some fantastic things on celery dishes and vases, and I will put it in the chat. I might do that anyways. I'll put it in the comments below. Because I have to find it again, but it was fabulous to look at the stuff about celery. I love celery, but I mean, come on. All right, I'll do that. I mean, come on, celery. Okay. Up next, I picked this up, spying it and going, it's an inkwell. It's an inkwell. I love I'm obsessed with this color. It's one of my new favorite colors. Yes. My living room is actually painted this color. I love it. I thought this was just an inkwell. And then I flip it over and I look on the bottom and it says Dance Designs Limited. And I went, pretty sure they didn't make like inkwells. What this is an inkwell vase. It can be used as an inkwell. It never would have had a stopper. They are little inkwell vases. Let me make sure I get this man's name right. And I didn't write it down there. Okay. It was made by, I'm going to try this, Jans Quitsgaard. That's how I'm going to say his name. In the 1960s for them. And it came in a couple of different colors. It came in this color. I believe there is an amber, and I've seen an avocado, and I believe there is a cobalt, but I'm not 100% certain. These are actually going for a pretty penny online. I was kind of floored by that. They're tiny little guys. They will, if you have a fancy quill feather, fit in there. I had and took some pictures of it earlier. For me, I thought it was great. I love this little guy. Love this color. So if you're interested in this one single little piece right here, it's going to be $15, number 75. $15, number 75 on this little beauty.
I love that. If I found that, it would have to live with me a little while before I put it up for sale.
I know.
Piece.
I know. I found it this weekend. I have one inkwell. It's not a real inkwell. That's why I was like, oh, okay, that I'm all right. I can put it up for sale because I have one real inkwell. Okay. Last week, I was lucky enough. Oh, I see Bridgie is in on that one. Thank you, dear. Last week, you're gonna love it. I saw in a consignment shop a row of bud vases, little clear crystal bud vases. There we go, words. And I stopped short and I went, wait a minute. Some of those look antique. And I looked a little closer. I was like, oh my gosh, they are. And I had to grab them. I had to grab a couple. John was rolling his eyes. He's like, nobody likes clear glass. I'm like, but these are antique. So here we go. Here's the first one. I'm going to get real close there. It has like the English hobnail on it. And I love the face. Oh,
that's amazing.
And then the bottom, the pattern is actually on. Usually the bottom is smooth. The pattern is actually on the bottom. You can feel the pattern there on the bottom with the little petals. And I just love the little fluted top. It almost looks like a really fancy champagne glass. It's not. It's a little mini bud vase. This is McKee and was done in the early 1900s. So this is early American pressed glass. And the optics on this baby in the sunlight are just, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And you can tell the difference when you walk by one of these and then when you walk by just a like 1970s little crystal bud vase. It is, and the fact that there's nothing wrong with it. It's in perfect condition. So little guy, about 6 inches tall. I just thought it was sweet. I wouldn't put anything in it, but you do you. And if you're interested in the tiny little bud vase here, the little 6-inch guy is going to be $10, number 89. $10, number 89 on this little beauty. And those are my two.
That is a great price for an antique piece.
Gorgeous.
Okay, I have, look away, Kaz, look away.
Oh no.
This rocking horse. It is the white carnival glass. This was a new glass company to me. This is the Guernsey Glass Company.
Oh.
This one's from 1982. And we know it's Guernsey glass because right there, it's got a G inside the triangle. And so I looked it up and I was like, oh, never heard of that one before. And then 1982 right there. So no chips, no cracks. Its ears are fine. Its mane is fine. It is lengthwise 4 1/4 inches, height-wise like 3 inches. So gorgeous, gorgeous piece of glass. And it is $20, number 13. $20, number 13. And they did these in a whole bunch of different colors.
So white carnival glass is hard to find. Even the newer stuff is hard to find.
Yeah.
And it's
my
gorgeous.
niece, her favorite piece in her collection is a piece I paid up for at an antique store. I gifted it to her for something special. I don't remember what, but it's the white carnival glass. And it's her favorite piece out of all of her carnival glass. She loves it. All right. And then, this big mamma jamma.
Huge.
This is the Indiana glass. So I've sold the Westmoreland before, the smaller version. And the Westmoreland one has a lot more detail in the grapes. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but this is the Indiana glass. This is the 64 ounce, but I'm selling it as a vase because I do not know anybody in their right mind that would put liquid in this and then be trying to pour out of it. Although it did, when it was originally sold, was sold with cups, with glasses. But this is too heavy. But think about your big bouquet of spring and summer flowers in here. That would be amazing. And it's not going to tip over because it is heavy. There are a couple of, there's a manufacturing defect right here that I want to point out. No chips, no cracks, but this manufacturing defect right there. I think you can see it. So there's that where the mold was just probably had something in it that caused a void in the glass. And then there is, you can't really see it, but there is a bit of staining in the bottom. So I do think it was being used as a vase before. So this is Indiana glass. Obviously, their classic grape pattern, but it's massive. I think it's 10.5 inches tall. It's so heavy. 11 inches. I'm going to go 11 inches tall all the way up to here. But I just think it would make the most perfect vase. And it's only $12. $12, number 6, because I know the shipping is going to be expensive, so I kept the price low. But it's a pretty cool piece. And those are my 2.
I love the pictures using them as vases because they are meatier. Like you don't have to worry about like your cat knocking it over. And it's such a pretty cottage core earthy vibe when you use them. And I also want to say, guys, I'm so proud of you. Look at all the stuff you're learning and letting us know about. That is awesome. Thank you for that.
And Kathy, I think you meant Mosser. And yeah, Mosser made most of those.
Yeah. Okay, damn autocorrect. Right? Let me curse when I want to curse. Let me put in Mosser when I want to put in Mosser. Okay, up next, I have a piece of Mount Pleasant, Ellie Smith. Very short time run on these. I believe the time run on the Mount Pleasant was only about 5 years. And from what I was looking at when it came to the Mount Pleasant line, there are pieces that are only found here in New York. Maybe they filtered their way over to Pennsylvania, but there are people, the guy was saying, like, I know couples in upstate New York and Western New York who have different versions of Mount Pleasant than I have seen out there. And so I'm just letting that go out there. I have not seen one of the I have a few Mount Pleasant pieces, but I haven't seen them with this strip running along the side there. I'm going to try and get, hold on, just do it this way. Oh, it's still not quite working out. There we go. You can kind of see it running around. It is a little faded. I can't tell if it was supposed to be gold. I'm thinking maybe it was supposed to be gold. It has like a whitish hue now.
Yeah.
You can see it?
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay. Good.
I love that it's footed. We love a good foot.
Love that. This would be, because of the way it was folded in, and I don't have a spoon, but this, I'll use my pen. This would be a great one to have a little, if you have a little glass ladle, because it would sit so perfectly in the little corners here. Really great. They're called 3-footed folded in bowls. They have like a triangular shape. Mount Pleasant line is gorgeous. They make some of the best. This is one of the few lines that has a lot of different colors. They have the blue, the black, the pink, the green. So they had lots of colors in this line. But once again, I'm addicted to the cobalt glass lately. So really good condition on this guy. And it does look like a water light. It's not. I was like, what is that? It was a stripe. It was a fancy stripe. It photographs better than video for some reason. If you're interested in this guy right here, it's going to be $12, number 73. $12, number 73. I could just imagine some hummus sitting in this little guy right here.
Oh, yeah. That's the perfect size for hummus.
Love hummus. Okay, and those are, did I do 2? Hold on. Oh, no, I only did 1. Knucklehead. Okay. Going on with serving. Yeah, I can count. I can count sometimes. I'm so distracted. Guys, I'm having issues with my technology. Mercury's in retrograde, and my technology doesn't like me on a good day. When Mercury goes into retrograde, it's like a nuclear winter. It's like, nope, nothing's going to work for you. So, peanut bowl. Oh, I like that, Kathy. Yes. Okay. So I have brought this up before, but because we're doing serving pieces and weird things, I wanted to bring this up. I love this piece. This is Sheridan. It is silver plated. It has the keyhole design. We have both little canisters with the glass and the little tops. I'm using spoons, so it would have had spoons. Cheers. Just so you can see, nice little glass pieces. These would have been for little condiments. I can think of nothing better than having a little bit of marmalade or a little bit of raspberry jelly and having a little spoon and sitting down in the morning and having a piece of toast. And just, or a scone or a crumpet, or put this on yours, in other words, yours. You buy it for yourself and you tell everyone in your house, this goes on my tray for Mother's Day, everyone. Put this on my tray for Mother's Day.
Make it fancy.
Make me fancy. I want to feel like, I got to eat breakfast in bed in a fancy hotel. So you can use them for lots of different things. It'd be really cute for mustard and ketchup. For your barbecues, make your barbecues fancy too. Or leave them out all the time and do a little bit of sugar and raw sugar at your coffee bar. I like the raw sugar myself. Yep, ketchup and mustard, absolutely. So if you're interested in this guy right here, it's in really good shape. I did clean it up because it was so dingy. I did give it a little light clean. So very pretty for jam. And then you just take these, you put them in the fridge. And then in the morning, you take them out and let them sit. Awesome sauce. If you're interested, it's going to be $15, number 90. $15, number 90 for the 3-piece set. Look at you all coming up with things to put in them. I love that. Those are my 2 for real this time.
I love that too.
I got you, Angela.
My next item, I was going to say that looks like Angela's style, and then Angela bought it. So my next item is an Avon powder jar. And I love these because you can put brooches in them and leave it sit right on your dresser. You aren't going to forget that they exist because it's clear glass, but they aren't going to get dusty being in an open bowl. And this is a nice size. I actually have a different form of the Avon powder jar on my dresser right now holding brooches. So it's this size. It's got the Avon in there. And again, I couldn't tell which glass company had made it, but we know most of them are made by good glass companies. It's 5 inches across the bottom and 6 inches across the top because the bottom is a little bit more narrow and then it goes up. So 6 inches here. No chips, no cracks.
Love the top.
Yeah.
Love the top.
And this one is from the 70s. And I don't know if they remade a classic one, but my mom said that my grandma had one very similar sitting on her dresser in the 50s with actual powder in it. But this one's from the 70s. And I know that because someone had listed one on eBay for sale. And she said, I was gifted this by my friend in 1978. So these were the ones made in the 70s. I thought that was cool. And that garage sale I went to that had all the Avon, a lot of her stuff was from the 70s, and it was her mom's stuff. And she said that her dad bought her mom anything new that came out, like every Avon catalog, he just added to her collection from the 70s on. So that was a really cool garage sale to go to. $10, number 20. I don't know if there's a book, Becky. I know when I see the original boxes, a lot of times the original box will tell you the glass company that made it. And like the whole Cape Cod line was made by the ones that made the bottles.
Wheaton.
Made by Wheaton.
Wheaton made a lot of glass for Avon. A lot of glass for Avon. But I have an Avon book.
A lot of their glass was made by Fostoria.
Yeah. And Indiana made some too, but I have an Avon collector's book and it doesn't even mention in there who made the glass. Yeah.
And then I've got your choice. These are going to be $10 a piece, but I did bring some serving pieces. So one is Anchor Hocking, one is Indiana glass. This one's Anchor Hocking, I believe. Yeah. This one's Anchor Hocking. The greens are just slightly different. So this is the Indiana glass one. This is the Anchor Hocking one. And you've got your star here. And then this one has handles. And it's got your flowers on the bottom.
Now see, that could be a celery dish because it's got 2 handles.
Yep. So $10 a piece, your choice. And if you want one, type the number in, then whoever is in there first can tell me which one they want. $10, number 3. And those are mine too.
Oh, that's good to know, Kraken. I guess maybe if you got a hold of the seller's handbooks, you could see the one I have is just for collectors. So that's really cool. And I love Wheaton too. I love all their little bottles. Yeah. My son thought they were really cool. Okay. So let's see. What do I have up next? Oh, yeah. This is such a cute little piece. So here we go. The little instant coffee teardrop jar. This does open up. It's a very lightweight metal. This whole piece is super lightweight. It looks really heavy. So it opens up and it has this gold brassy tone atop, really lightweight. And it, oh, there goes my phone again, acting up. And then the screw on top and this little guy on the bottom. It holds your instant coffee. Back in the days when you would have instant coffee, there's a comedian out there whose name is Sebastian. I can't remember his last name. If John's still here, he'll put it in the chat what the guy's name is. He does this whole thing about how we grew up when we were kids and how your mother always had Sanka and coffee cake, Entenmann's coffee cake and Sanka sitting to the side in case guests showed up to the door. So now that's all I can think of whenever I think of instant coffee is Sanka. I love him. He's a hysterical comedian. So this little guy, it was sitting on my coffee bar for a long time and did have instant coffee in it. And I was amazed because it was full. And then, you know, after it sat for a while, it ended up like instant coffee was down here. Nobody was drinking it, just kind of like mushes down on itself. Just something, just, oh, he's hysterical. See, Rebecca knows he is hysterical. And it's a great, like, if you haven't seen that one thing where he talks about Sanka and how we answer the door now and how we used to answer the door, go back and watch it. You'll laugh. It took us off. So, little guy here, if you're interested in the instant coffee jar, really cool lettering too. This guy right here is going to be $12, number 74 for your Sanka. $12, number 74 on that guy.
And yeah, I like the lettering on that a lot.
I love the lettering on that. It's a lot of it's a fun little piece. I mean, you don't have to put coffee in it, but you know what? Why not? You know, everyone uses K-cups and pods and everything now. Sometimes it's fun to just do the, you know, the dry coffee or the instant fresh beanie coffee. Okay, so this one's going to be a choice too. Oh, there's his name. See, I knew you'd figure it out. So I have two of these. One in pink. One in the marigold carnival glass. One is carnival glass, one is not. So these are Indiana glass. This is, they call it the tree of life. To me, it looks like a cabbage, but I get the tree of life thing. When you see the back, you can see it a little bit more. Really cool little serving tray. This is the marigold Indiana glass reproduced. Looks like bubbles in the sun. Love it, love it, love it. So there's one. It's the orange one, or the carnival glass one. And the other one is the pink divided dish. I kind of like this.
Yeah, that pink is something else. I love that.
Yeah. I love that you can do, like, you know, your fruits and your veggies. My aunt always puts out after we have big holiday meals. She'll do a cheese and a deli plate. So we'll do cheese, we'll do meats on one side. And, you know, these are really, really sturdy and nice and thick. So we get the pebbly textured on the back. This one's my favorite. I love it. And I'm not a pink person. So you get your choice between the carnival glass and the pink one. And if you're interested in these guys right here, choice $8, number 87. $8, number 87 on those two. And those are my two pieces.
Yeah, Kaz agrees that pink is gorgeous. It really is. Okay, so this round I have two little things. So the little blue bud vase, this was made in Taiwan, so probably 1980s. And this is what we were talking about when we talk about reproductions. This would have been based on a much older style of bud vase. It is just this big. So it stands like 2.5 inches tall. So just a little blue glass bud vase. I have one of these in amber in my personal collection because I kept my smalls to my amber. Originally, before I moved, I was collecting all the smalls and everything. I couldn't do that anymore. $5, number 10. $5, number 10 on the little blue bud vase. And then we've got the Amberina toothpick holder with the hobnails. And I do believe a tea light will fit in here. Let me see. Yep, a tea light will fit. So if you want to use it for that, they will fit in here. But this one was a toothpick holder. And it also is only $5 today, number 19. $5, number 19. And those are my two.
Awesome. Okay. We're going to round this out with another little clear glass section here. So I've got my Italian trivets, silver plated. One of them is very patinaed, this one right here, but I kind of dig that. So you don't have to just use these for hot plate trivets. They can just sit out and look fancy. I like that idea. I have a couple that sit next to my stove. So like if I have to take a pot off, or I'm using a mixing bowl so I don't mess up my counter. They're also great under plants, and you can flip it over so it's just the fancy shiny silvery side, but you get a set of two. I cannot remember the name of the company that made this. I really should have remembered it, but I don't. It's escaped my brain. For some reason I didn't write it down on my list. I didn't do that, but nice. Both of them are in really good shape. This one here, it does not have the patina that its little partner does, but I like patina. What can I say? If you're interested in the double set of Italian sterling plated glass on this part, trivets, they're going to be $12 for the pair, number 93. $12, number 93 on those guys. And my last piece is my oldest piece. This is, I didn't find just one piece of early American pressed glass. I found two. This one is from the 1890s. This is Bryce and Higby early American pressed glass. It is gorgeous. It doesn't even show just the different layers of cut that they actually, the pressing that they put in this. Each of these little lines is like a different pattern in a different style, and the leaf circles on the bottom. I love that. They're gorgeous. It's got a nice little sawtooth, rounded sawtooth top on it. It reminds me of a pretty little flower, and it is prismatically absolutely gorgeous. This is another bud vase, another little 6-inch guy there. Absolutely beautiful. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. So if you're interested in, now you can understand why I went and stopped and had to pick them up, because they're just so pretty. And these fit nice in a windowsill too. So you do a nice little arrangement. You have rainbows dancing all over your room. So if you're interested in this guy, just $10, number 85. $10, number 85 on this little guy. They do, yes. The two of them look gorgeous sitting next to each other. Look at it. One's just a little bit taller, but they do.
Oh, I love that.
Maybe next to each other. Okay. I see Angela. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, those are my last two.
All right. So my second to last item is the little Imperial Glass pink beaded block pickle bowl. And I know this one was a pickle bowl because I was able to find it in my book and identify it. So no chips, no cracks. It's in really, really good condition. It's two-handled. And it is the pink depression glass look. And this one is just $8, number 12. And lengthwise from handle to handle, it's almost a full 8 inches, but just the bowl part is only 6 inches. So $8, number 12 on that one. And then my last item is actually choice. And this is going to be Indiana glass. And this one, I do believe, was in fact a relish dish. Not sure if this is a bonbon or if it was just another relish dish. But remember, that would have been a sauce for your meat. So it's the honeycomb pattern on both. It's the avocado green Indiana glass. And these are choice, $6 a piece. $6 a piece, number 7. And no chips, no cracks on these. And the handles are really nice on these.
I love the idea of all three of these pieces, but that pickle dish especially. You have summer picnics where you're sitting outside on your porch or your deck or whatever little dining space, outdoor space you have. Those are fabulous, but make it fancy. I just watched this whole thing on Top Chef, how they did a fancy picnic, and I went, I want to do that. I want to sit down and have a fancy picnic, like tea party outside with all these lovely little things on the table. Love that. Cranberries. I use mine for cranberry sauce. Yeah. Especially the nappies and the nappy dishes, they're perfect for that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
Pick me up,
right.
Nikki. Pick me up on your way.
I'll pick you up. We'll go. I'll go that way. We'll head down and we'll hang out
Yeah,
with
we'll show
Angela.
up
I would love to. And if you guys aren't watching Angela when she posts her food, I am so jealous. I want one of those Dutch babies that she's been putting in the oven. You made me so hungry and miss this staple, this New England staple. They used to call them Bigfords. You used to go and get the Dutch apple babies. I miss those. Oh, they're so yummy. Oh, thanks, guys.
So next week, Goofus Glass. We've not talked about Goofus Glass yet. Can you believe it? So next week we'll be talking about Goofus Glass. And I have my regular coffee chat small sale on Wednesday morning this week. And next week, Wednesday, birthday celebration, as long as I'm not in jury duty. I still haven't got my letter back yet, so we'll see.
No.
And what do you have going on this week?
I'm going to be doing a static sale on Wednesday. Static Wednesday this week is lots of lots. So I'm putting together some lots. Please help me clear stuff out, guys. I would appreciate it. Thursday evening over on Whatnot, I'm going to be doing antique and vintage ephemera again. I have some fantastic real people postcards coming up and some really cool Victorian trade cards and my last lot of dog cards. So those sold quick last week. So join me over there. That's what I got going on this week.
And if you ever need the links, all of Nikki's links are in the description box below, as well as my P.O. box, Nikki's Whatnot, and her Instagram and her channel, all linked below. Everything's always linked below. That's nice, Kathy.
You know what? I think everybody, if you have a picnic this summer, take pictures and let us know you put them out there because I want to see your fancy picnic. Whether it's you're sitting on your porch or your deck or your patio, on your patio furniture, eating something, or you're actually sitting on the ground, which I don't know many of us are going to sit on the ground anymore. You know, put them out there. It's a challenge for everybody, the picnic challenge, and use the fancy stuff. Use it. Use it.
Yep. Use it.
Use it.
All right. So you guys have a great day. We'll see you in the chats.
Bye. And happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Yep,
yes, happy Mother's Day.